Maya clutched the thick manuscript to her chest, her heart a hummingbird trapped in a cage. It wasn't just paper and ink, it was years of dreams woven into words, characters that felt like family, and a world she'd painstakingly built from the ground up. The Whispering Woods, her fantasy novel, was finally finished. She was Maya, a 24-year-old with ink-stained fingers and a spirit that soared when she wrote. By day, she worked at a local bookstore, surrounded by the scent of aged paper and the hushed whispers of turning pages. But at night, she transformed into a storyteller, her small apartment becoming a portal to enchanted forests and faraway lands. Her room, though tiny, was her sanctuary. Books lined the walls, stacked high like protective fortresses. A worn-out armchair sat beneath a window overlooking the city, bathed in the soft glow of streetlights. It was here, in this cozy space, that Maya had poured her heart and soul into The Whispering Woods, a tale of a young sorceress who discovers a hidden power within herself and must save her kingdom from a looming darkness. Now, the moment had arrived. It was time to share her creation with the world. With trembling hands, Maya carefully packaged her manuscript, addressed it to several publishing houses, and dropped them into the mailbox, each one a prayer sent into the unknown. She imagined editors, their faces illuminated by the glow of their desk lamps, poring over her story, captivated by her characters, and eager to bring her world to life. She knew the odds were stacked against her. The publishing world was a tough one to crack, a labyrinth of gatekeepers and endless submissions. But Maya was an optimist. She believed in her story, in her talent, and in the power of dreams. She allowed herself to envision the future, book signings, interviews, and readers falling in love with the world she had created. She even practiced her author signature, carefully crafting each letter with a flourish. This was it, she thought. This was the beginning of her journey. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into what felt like an eternity. Maya checked her mailbox religiously, her anticipation growing with each passing sunrise. She'd picture the mail carrier, a friendly woman named Mrs. Gable, carefully placing the coveted envelopes into her box. Each morning, hope blossomed anew, only to wither slightly if the mailbox remained empty of good news. To distract herself from the agonizing wait, Maya threw herself into her work at the bookstore. She loved recommending books to customers, seeing their eyes light up as she described fantastical worlds and captivating characters. She felt a connection to these stories, a kinship with the authors who had poured their hearts onto the page. She also started working on a new project, a collection of short stories inspired by the folklore of her grandmother's homeland. It was a welcome distraction, a way to keep her creative juices flowing and her mind occupied. She wrote about mischievous forest spirits, wise old women who held the secrets of the earth, and brave young heroes who faced impossible odds. Finally, the first response arrived. Maya recognized the publisher's logo on the envelope. Her hands trembled as she tore it open. She took a deep breath and began to read. The letter was polite, professional, and utterly devastating. It praised her writing style but stated that The Whispering Woods didn't quite fit their current publishing needs. They wished her the best of luck in finding a suitable publisher. Disappointment washed over Maya, but she refused to let it consume her. It was just one rejection, she told herself. She had sent her manuscript to several publishers. There was still hope. She crumpled the letter into a ball and tossed it into the trash, determined to remain optimistic. More responses would come, she knew. And one of them, she hoped, would be the yes she was waiting for. But the yes didn't come. Instead, the trickle of rejections turned into a steady stream, each one a paper cut to Maya's soul. The polite form letters started to sound the same: "Thank you for considering us. While we appreciate your talent, unfortunately, we are unable to offer you representation at this time." Maya started taping the rejection letters to her bedroom wall, a grim collage of dashed hopes. At first, she tried to find the positive in each one, searching for any glimmer of constructive criticism. But as the wall filled up, her optimism began to wane. She found it harder to concentrate at work. The sight of all those books, once a source of inspiration, now felt like a cruel reminder of her own unfulfilled dreams. She'd catch herself staring blankly at the shelves, wondering if she'd ever see her book among them. The short story project stalled. The words no longer flowed as easily as they once had. The mischievous forest spirits seemed to have lost their spark, the wise old women their wisdom, and the brave young heroes their courage. One evening, Liam, her best friend, came over. He found Maya slumped on the couch, surrounded by crumpled rejection letters. He sat down beside her and put an arm around her shoulders. "How's it going?" he asked gently. Maya sighed. "The wall's almost full," she said, gesturing to the growing collection of rejection letters. "I don't think I can do this anymore, Liam. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just not good enough." Liam squeezed her shoulder. "Don't say that, Maya. You're one of the most talented people I know. Don't let these people define you. They don't know what they're missing." But Maya wasn't so sure. The rejections were starting to feel like a confirmation of her deepest fears. Maybe she wasn't meant to be a writer. Maybe, The Whispering Woods, was destined to remain hidden in the shadows, a story no one would ever read. The thought was a heavy weight in her chest, threatening to crush her spirit. Then came the letter that shattered everything. It wasn't a form rejection. It was a personalized critique, penned in harsh, unforgiving language. The editor, a woman named Ms. Stern, eviscerated Maya's manuscript, calling her characters flat, her plot predictable, and her writing style amateurish. "Frankly, Ms. Rodriguez," the letter concluded, "you don't have what it takes. I suggest you find a different career path. Writing is clearly not for you." The words hit Maya like a physical blow. She gasped, her breath catching in her throat. Tears welled up in her eyes, blurring the already cruel words on the page. She read the letter again and again, each time feeling the sting of Ms. Stern's judgment. This wasn't just a rejection, it was a condemnation. It wasn't just a critique, it was a personal attack. Ms. Stern hadn't just rejected her book, she had rejected her, the very essence of who she was. Maya crumpled the letter in her fist, her knuckles white with anger and despair. She tore down the rejection letters from her wall, ripping them into shreds. She wanted to erase every trace of her failed dream. She locked herself in her room, refusing to answer Liam's calls or respond to his texts. She didn't want to talk to anyone. She just wanted to be alone with her pain. She looked around her room, at the books that had once inspired her, at the desk where she had spent countless hours writing, at the manuscript that now seemed like a symbol of her failure. She felt a wave of nausea wash over her. She grabbed The Whispering Woods, and threw it across the room. It landed with a thud on the floor, its pages slightly askew. She stared at it, her chest heaving with sobs. "She's right," Maya whispered to herself, her voice choked with tears. "I'm not good enough. I'll never be a writer." The weight of that realization was crushing, suffocating. It felt like her world had ended. Days blurred into a gray, monotonous stretch. Maya called in sick to work, unable to face the cheerful atmosphere of the bookstore, the endless rows of books that mocked her failure. She stayed in her pajamas, curtains drawn, the only light filtering through the gaps a dull, depressing gray. She barely ate, picking at a few crackers or a piece of fruit. She couldn't sleep, her mind racing with Ms. Stern's cruel words, replaying them over and over like a broken record. She felt like she was drowning, trapped in a dark, airless space with no escape. The manuscript of The Whispering Woods lay abandoned on the floor, a silent accusation. Maya couldn't bring herself to look at it, let alone touch it. It represented everything she had failed to achieve, everything she was not. She started questioning everything about herself. Was she really talented? Had she just been fooling herself all this time? Was writing just a childish fantasy, a silly dream that she needed to let go of? She even considered quitting her job at the bookstore. What was the point of being surrounded by books if she could never write one herself? Maybe she should find a more practical career, something that didn't involve so much heartbreak and disappointment. One afternoon, she found herself staring at the trash can filled with the shredded rejection letters. It was a visual representation of her shattered dreams, a testament to her failure. She felt a surge of anger, a burning resentment towards Ms. Stern and all the other editors who had dismissed her. But the anger quickly faded, replaced by a deep sense of sadness and resignation. Maybe they were right. Maybe she should just give up. Maybe it was time to accept that she wasn't meant to be a writer. The thought was a bitter pill to swallow, but it felt like the only logical conclusion. She was lost and discouraged, questioning every part of herself. On the fourth day of Maya's self-imposed exile, Liam finally managed to get into her apartment. He'd been worried sick, calling and texting incessantly with no response. He'd even gone to her workplace, only to learn she was out sick. Finally, he convinced the building manager to let him in, explaining his concerns for her well-being. He found Maya huddled on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, her face pale and drawn. The room was dark and stuffy, the air thick with despair. He knelt beside her, taking her hand in his. "Maya," he said softly, "what's going on? You haven't been answering my calls. I was so worried." Maya looked at him, her eyes filled with tears. "I'm a failure, Liam," she whispered. "Ms. Stern said I don't have what it takes. She said I should find a different career." Liam's heart ached for his friend. He knew how much writing meant to her. He couldn't imagine her giving up on her dream. "That's just one person's opinion, Maya," he said, his voice firm. "She doesn't know you. She doesn't know how talented you are. Don't let her words define you." "But what if she's right?" Maya asked, her voice trembling. "What if I'm just not good enough?" Liam shook his head. "That's not true, Maya. I've read your stories. I know how much heart and soul you put into your writing. You have a gift, Maya. Don't let anyone take that away from you." He paused, then continued, "Remember why you started writing in the first place, Maya. It wasn't for fame or fortune. It was because you loved telling stories. It was because you had a world inside you that you needed to share with others. Don't let one mean letter make you forget that." He pulled her into a hug, holding her tight. "Don't give up on yourself, Maya," he whispered. "I believe in you. And I know you can do this." His words were a lifeline, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Liam's words resonated with Maya, a faint spark igniting within the darkness. She knew he was right. Writing wasn't just a career aspiration, it was a part of her, an essential element of her being. She couldn't imagine a life without it. But the sting of Ms. Stern's rejection still lingered. Maya knew she couldn't just ignore the criticism. Maybe there was some truth to it. Maybe, The Whispering Woods wasn't as good as she thought it was. As Liam helped her clean up her apartment, throwing away the shredded rejection letters and opening the curtains to let in the sunlight, Maya started to feel a glimmer of hope. Maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe it was a new beginning. That night, after Liam had left, Maya cautiously picked up the manuscript of The Whispering Woods. She hesitated for a moment, then opened it to the first page. She started to read, this time with a more critical eye. She saw flaws she hadn't noticed before, clunky dialogue, underdeveloped characters, and plot points that didn't quite make sense. Ms. Stern's words echoed in her mind, but this time, they didn't feel as crushing. They felt like a challenge. Maya decided to rewrite and heavily edit her manuscript. She would address the criticisms, strengthen the weak points, and make The Whispering Woods the best it could be. It wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to prove Ms. Stern wrong. She started by creating a detailed outline, breaking down the plot into smaller, more manageable sections. She spent hours researching character development, learning how to create believable and relatable characters. She revised the dialogue, making it sound more natural and engaging. Slowly but surely, The Whispering Woods, began to transform. It became sharper, more focused, and more compelling. Maya poured her heart and soul into the rewriting process, determined to create a story that would captivate readers and silence her critics. This was her chance to prove to herself, and to everyone else, that she had what it takes. As Maya meticulously reworked The Whispering Woods, she stumbled upon online forums and communities dedicated to self-publishing. She had always envisioned her book gracing the shelves of traditional bookstores, but the idea of taking control of her own destiny began to intrigue her. She spent hours researching the process, learning about everything from formatting and cover design to marketing and distribution. She discovered a vibrant world of independent authors who were finding success on their own terms, bypassing the gatekeepers of the traditional publishing industry. The more she learned, the more empowered she felt. Self-publishing wasn't just a last resort, it was a viable option, a way to share her story with the world without waiting for someone else's approval. She could choose her own cover, set her own price, and market her book directly to readers. She discussed the idea with Liam, who was immediately supportive. "Go for it, Maya," he exclaimed. "What do you have to lose? You've already done the hard part, writing the book. Now it's time to show the world what you've got." Maya felt a surge of excitement. Self-publishing wouldn't be easy, but it would be an adventure. It would be a chance to prove Ms. Stern wrong, not by conforming to her standards, but by forging her own path. She started to envision her book cover, a captivating image that would draw readers in. She imagined the feeling of holding her own book in her hands, knowing that she had created it from start to finish. She decided to invest in a professional editor to give her manuscript a final polish. She knew that self-publishing didn't mean cutting corners. It meant taking responsibility for every aspect of the process and ensuring that her book was the best it could be. Maya researched self-publishing options, feeling empowered by the idea of taking control of her book's destiny. The initial fear and self-doubt were slowly being replaced by a sense of determination and excitement. She was ready to take the leap. Maya knew that a professional-looking cover was crucial for attracting readers. She couldn't afford to hire a top-tier designer, but she found a talented freelance artist online who specialized in fantasy art. After several discussions and revisions, they created a stunning cover featuring the young sorceress from The Whispering Woods standing in a mystical forest, her eyes glowing with power. Next, Maya tackled the formatting. She downloaded software and spent hours learning how to properly format her book for different e-readers and print-on-demand services. It was a tedious process, but she was determined to get it right. She wanted her book to look as professional as any traditionally published novel. She also wrote a compelling book description, highlighting the key themes and characters of The Whispering Woods. She wanted to hook readers from the very first sentence, enticing them to dive into her world. Liam, ever the supportive friend, helped Maya with the final proofreading. He had a keen eye for detail and caught several typos and grammatical errors that Maya had missed. Finally, after months of hard work, The Whispering Woods was ready for publication. Maya uploaded her manuscript, cover design, and book description to a self-publishing platform. She set her price, chose her distribution options, and took a deep breath. She clicked the Publish button. A wave of emotions washed over her, excitement, nervousness, and a sense of accomplishment. She had done it. She had taken control of her destiny and brought her book to life. Now, it was time to share it with the world. Maya invested time and effort into creating a professional-looking cover and formatting her book for self-publication. The journey was just beginning. The real work was just beginning. Maya knew that publishing her book was only half the battle. Now, she had to get it noticed. She dove headfirst into the world of online marketing, learning about social media strategies, book reviews, and online advertising. She created accounts on all the major social media platforms, sharing excerpts from her book, posting about her writing process, and engaging with other readers and authors. She joined online book communities, participating in discussions and promoting her book whenever appropriate. She reached out to book bloggers and reviewers, offering them free copies of The Whispering Woods in exchange for honest reviews. She knew that positive reviews could be a powerful tool for attracting new readers. She also experimented with online advertising, targeting readers who enjoyed fantasy novels similar to hers. It was a gamble, but she was willing to invest in her book's success. Liam helped her create a simple website where readers could learn more about her and her book. He even designed some eye-catching graphics to promote The Whispering Woods on social media. Maya spent hours each day promoting her book, balancing her marketing efforts with her work at the bookstore. It was exhausting, but she was driven by her passion for her story and her determination to succeed. She knew that self-publishing was a marathon, not a sprint. It would take time and effort to build an audience and generate sales. But she was patient and persistent, believing that her hard work would eventually pay off. Maya publishes her book online and starts promoting it through social media and online book communities, hoping to gain visibility. She was ready to put in the work. At first, it was slow going. A few sales here and there, mostly to friends and family. But then, a book blogger with a large following posted a glowing review of The Whispering Woods. "This book is a must-read for fans of fantasy," the blogger wrote. "Maya Rodriguez has created a captivating world with compelling characters and a thrilling plot. I couldn't put it down." The review sparked a surge of interest in Maya's book. Sales started to climb, and positive reviews began to pour in. Readers praised Maya's imaginative world-building, her relatable characters, and her fast-paced storytelling. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Readers recommended The Whispering Woods to their friends, family, and fellow book lovers. Online book communities buzzed with excitement about Maya's debut novel. Maya was overjoyed. She couldn't believe that her book was actually resonating with readers. She spent hours responding to comments and messages, thanking her fans for their support. She started receiving fan art inspired by her characters and world. Readers even created their own playlists of music that reminded them of The Whispering Woods. Maya felt a deep connection to her readers. She was sharing her story with the world, and people were actually listening. It was a dream come true. As sales continued to climb, The Whispering Woods started to appear on bestseller lists for independent authors. Maya's book was gaining traction, and she was finally starting to see the rewards of her hard work. Slowly but surely, Maya's book gains traction, with positive reviews and word-of-mouth spreading. Her dream was coming true. The sales kept climbing, week after week. The Whispering Woods wasn't just appearing on bestseller lists for independent authors anymore, it was climbing the overall bestseller charts, competing with traditionally published books. Maya was stunned. She checked the sales figures every day, hardly believing her eyes. Her book was becoming a phenomenon. She started receiving interview requests from online magazines and podcasts. She even got an invitation to speak at a local writing conference. Her social media following exploded. Readers clamored for updates about her next book, eager to return to the world of The Whispering Woods. Maya struggled to keep up with the demand. She was still working at the bookstore, balancing her job with her writing and marketing responsibilities. She barely had time to sleep. Liam stepped in to help, managing her website and social media accounts. He even started handling some of the interview requests. One day, Maya received an email from a literary agent. The agent had read The Whispering Woods, and was impressed by its success. She wanted to represent Maya and help her get a deal with a traditional publisher. Maya was hesitant. She had enjoyed the freedom and control of self-publishing. But the agent promised her a wider audience and greater visibility. She also assured Maya that she would have a say in the publishing process. After careful consideration, Maya decided to sign with the agent. She knew that it was a big step, but she believed that it was the right one for her career. Sales start to climb, and Maya is overjoyed to see readers connecting with her story, leading to interview requests and attention from a literary agent. The book was a hit. With the agent's guidance, The Whispering Woods was submitted to several major publishing houses. Maya tried not to get her hopes up, remembering the sting of those early rejections. But this time, things were different. Publishers were eager to acquire the rights to her book. They saw the sales figures, the positive reviews, and the devoted fan base. They knew that The Whispering Woods was a proven success. Maya received multiple offers, each one more enticing than the last. She was overwhelmed, but her agent helped her navigate the complex negotiations. And then, the unthinkable happened. An offer came in from Ms. Stern's publishing house. Maya couldn't believe it. The same editor who had told her she didn't have what it takes now wanted to publish her book. Maya felt a mix of emotions, vindication, anger, and a touch of amusement. She imagined Ms. Stern's face when she realized that the book she had dismissed was now a bestseller. The offers poured in from every major publisher. Maya's book becomes a surprise hit, topping bestseller lists in its genre. She had a choice to make. Did she want to sign with Ms. Stern's publishing house and prove her wrong, or did she want to choose a different path? The decision weighed heavily on her mind. This was truly a dream come true, and the options seemed limitless. Maya discussed her options with Liam, seeking his advice. "What do you think I should do?" she asked. "Should I sign with Ms. Stern's publishing house just to prove her wrong, or should I choose a different path?" Liam thought for a moment. "It's not about proving her wrong, Maya," he said. "It's about choosing the best path for you and your book. Which publisher do you trust the most? Which one do you think will give you the most creative control? Which one do you think will do the best job of promoting your book to a wider audience?" Maya realized he was right. It wasn't about revenge, it was about making the best decision for her future as an author. She carefully reviewed each offer, considering the royalties, the marketing plans, and the level of creative control she would have. She spoke with other authors who had signed with the different publishers, asking for their advice and insights. Finally, she made her decision. She chose a publisher that had a strong track record of success with fantasy novels, a commitment to marketing her book to a wide audience, and a willingness to give her a significant degree of creative control. She called her agent and told her decision. The agent was thrilled. She knew that Maya had made the right choice. But those same publishers are now eager to sign her, impressed by her success. They scheduled a meeting with the publisher and began working out the details of the contract. Maya was one step closer to seeing The Whispering Woods reach an even wider audience. The meeting with the chosen publisher went well. Maya felt a genuine connection with the team, sensing their enthusiasm for her book and their understanding of her vision. They assured her that they would work closely with her on the cover design, marketing plan, and overall presentation of the book. However, one detail in the contract made Maya pause. The publisher wanted to make significant changes to the ending of The Whispering Woods. They felt that the original ending was too ambiguous and wanted to make it more definitive. Maya was torn. She understood the publisher's concerns, but she was also protective of her story. She had spent months crafting the ending, and she believed that it was perfect as it was. She discussed the issue with her agent, who advised her to stand her ground. "You've earned the right to have your voice heard, Maya," the agent said. "Don't let them compromise your artistic vision." Maya decided to negotiate with the publisher. She explained why she felt the original ending was important and offered alternative solutions that would address their concerns without sacrificing her artistic integrity. The publisher was initially hesitant, but Maya's passion and conviction eventually won them over. They agreed to keep the original ending, with a few minor tweaks that satisfied both parties. Maya faces a difficult decision: sign with a traditional publisher or continue self-publishing. She had proven them wrong. It was time to make the best deal possible and stick to her guns. She had earned it. With the ending secured, Maya turned her attention to the other details of the contract. She wanted to ensure that she retained as much creative control as possible, not just over the current book, but also over any future books she might write. She negotiated for a fair share of the royalties, ensuring that she would be properly compensated for her work. She also insisted on having input into the cover design, marketing plan, and publicity campaign. The publisher was impressed by Maya's business acumen and her unwavering commitment to her artistic vision. They recognized that she was a valuable asset and were willing to make concessions to secure her signature. After weeks of negotiations, the contract was finally finalized. Maya had secured a deal that was both financially rewarding and creatively fulfilling. She celebrated with Liam, toasting her success with a bottle of sparkling cider. "You did it, Maya!" Liam exclaimed. "You proved them all wrong." Maya smiled. "We did it, Liam," she said. "I couldn't have done it without you." Maya negotiates a deal with one of the publishers, ensuring she retains creative control and a fair share of the royalties. The journey had been long and arduous, but it had been worth it. She had learned valuable lessons about perseverance, self-belief, and the importance of staying true to her vision. Now, it was time to share her story with an even wider audience. The journey was just beginning. The publisher relaunched The Whispering Woods, with a brand new cover, a nationwide marketing campaign, and a prominent display in bookstores across the country. The book quickly soared to the top of the bestseller lists, surpassing even Maya's wildest dreams. Maya quit her job at the bookstore, finally able to devote herself to writing full-time. She traveled the country on a book tour, meeting her fans, signing autographs, and sharing her story. She received countless letters from readers who had been inspired by The Whispering Woods, telling her how much her book had meant to them. Some readers had even named their children after her characters. Maya's success didn't change her. She remained humble, grateful, and committed to her craft. She never forgot the sting of those early rejections, and she used that experience to fuel her determination. She even reached out to Ms. Stern, thanking her for her harsh criticism. "Your letter was painful, but it also made me a better writer," Maya wrote. "I'm grateful for your honesty, even though it was difficult to hear." Ms. Stern responded with a gracious email, congratulating Maya on her success and admitting that she had been wrong about her potential. Maya's book is re-released by the publisher, reaching an even wider audience. Maya became a literary sensation, her story inspiring others to pursue their dreams, no matter how daunting the odds. She was living proof that anything is possible with hard work, perseverance, and a little bit of faith. The little girl who dreamed of writing a book was now a best-selling author. Encouraged by her own journey, Maya became a vocal advocate for aspiring authors. She started a blog where she shared her experiences, offering advice and encouragement to those who were struggling with rejection or self-doubt. She volunteered at writing workshops, mentoring young writers and helping them develop their craft. She shared her story at conferences and events, inspiring others to pursue their dreams, no matter how difficult the path may seem. She established a scholarship fund for aspiring writers from underprivileged backgrounds, providing them with the financial resources they needed to pursue their education and develop their talents. She never forgot the kindness and support she had received from Liam, and she made it a point to pay it forward, helping others achieve their goals. Maya's influence extended far beyond the literary world. She became a role model for anyone who had ever faced adversity, demonstrating that it is possible to overcome obstacles and achieve success with hard work, perseverance, and a belief in oneself. She used her platform to promote literacy, advocate for social justice, and inspire positive change in the world. She wanted to use her voice to make a difference, to create a better future for generations to come. Maya never forgot the sting of rejection, but she transformed that pain into a powerful force for good, inspiring countless others to pursue their passions and make their mark on the world. Maya becomes a celebrated author, inspiring others to pursue their dreams despite facing setbacks, and giving back to the writing community. She found joy in inspiring others. Even amidst her success, Maya remembered the feeling of helplessness and despair that had consumed her after receiving Ms. Stern's letter. She vowed to never let anyone else feel that way if she could help it. She established a program where aspiring authors could submit their manuscripts for critique, receiving constructive feedback and encouragement from experienced writers. She personally reviewed many of the submissions, providing detailed comments and offering words of support. She made it a point to highlight the success stories of other self-published authors, sharing their journeys and celebrating their achievements. She wanted to show the world that traditional publishing wasn't the only path to success. She became a champion for diversity in literature, advocating for more representation of marginalized voices in books and publishing. She believed that everyone deserved to see themselves reflected in the stories they read. She used her platform to challenge the gatekeepers of the publishing industry, calling for more transparency, fairness, and inclusivity. She wanted to create a more level playing field for all aspiring authors. Maya never forgets the sting of those early rejections, using it as motivation to support other aspiring writers. She wanted to create a world where talent was recognized and celebrated, regardless of background or connections. Her legacy would extend far beyond her own books, inspiring generations of writers to come. That experience shaped her into the generous person she was. The line snaked around the bookstore, a testament to Maya's incredible success. Fans of all ages waited patiently, clutching their copies of The Whispering Woods, eager to meet the author who had captured their hearts and imaginations. Maya sat at a table, smiling warmly as she signed books and chatted with her readers. She made eye contact with each person, listening attentively to their stories and thanking them for their support. Liam stood nearby, beaming with pride. He had been there for Maya every step of the way, from the early days of rejection to the heights of her success. He knew how much this meant to her. As Maya signed a book for a young girl with bright, hopeful eyes, she reflected on her journey. It had been a long and difficult road, filled with obstacles and setbacks. But she had never given up on her dream. She had learned that rejection wasn't the end of the story, it was just a detour. She had discovered the power of self-belief, the importance of perseverance, and the value of surrounding herself with supportive friends. She had proven that anything is possible with hard work, dedication, and a little bit of faith. She had turned her rejection into triumph, her pain into purpose, and her dream into reality. As she looked out at the sea of faces, she felt a deep sense of gratitude. She was living the life she had always dreamed of, sharing her stories with the world and inspiring others to pursue their passions. She had finally found her voice, and she was using it to make a difference. Close with Maya at a book signing, reflecting on her journey and the importance of perseverance. Her life was magical. The young girl, no older than 10, stepped up to the table, her eyes wide with admiration. "Ms. Rodriguez," she said, her voice barely a whisper, "your book is my favorite. It made me believe that anything is possible." Maya smiled, her heart swelling with emotion. "Thank you," she said, taking the girl's hand. "That means the world to me." She signed the girl's book, adding a personal message, "Never give up on your dreams. The world needs your stories." As the girl walked away, clutching her signed book, Maya glanced at Liam. He gave her a knowing smile, his eyes filled with pride and affection. Maya knew that her journey was far from over. She had many more stories to tell, many more dreams to pursue. But she also knew that she had come a long way, from the depths of despair to the heights of success. She had learned that rejection was not a reflection of her worth, but an opportunity for growth. She had discovered the power of self-publishing, the importance of creative control, and the value of surrounding herself with supportive friends. She had proven that anything is possible with hard work, perseverance, and a little bit of faith. She had turned her rejection into triumph, her pain into purpose, and her dream into reality. And as she continued to sign books and meet her fans, she knew that she was making a difference, one story at a time. She was living proof that even the most daunting obstacles can be overcome with determination, resilience, and an unwavering belief in oneself. The crowd cheered as Maya took the microphone, ready to inspire new writers. She smiled, knowing her story would motivate others to pursue their wildest dreams. This was only the beginning.